city, your podcast.
All right, let's get into the rest of the NFL. We are in a golden age of quarterbacks, and I'm ecstatic. We get to watch Tom Brady, obviously Ben Roethlisberger, Patrick Mahomes, the emergence of Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, and now you have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, amongst other great quarterbacks in the league right now. I'm ecstatic. Great quarterback play makes for great football, and it's going to make for amazing endings, as we saw last year with the Chargers and the Chiefs. Justin Herbert almost beat Pat Mahomes in an OT game. It's phenomenal. And we're going to get a lot of that this season, and I'm ecstatic. Now with Trevor Lawrence, I have a feeling he's going to follow the footsteps of a Peyton Manning. I think he's going to have a decent rookie year. He's going to be okay. I think he's going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's going to think he's going to be too big for his britches, I think. He's going to want to make plays. He's going to want to make sure he's the guy. And in college, that's what you do. You take risks. You are able to fool these defenses that are not at a pro caliber. But he needs to realize, from what I've seen in the preseason, he hasn't realized it yet, but what he needs to realize is he's not playing some walk-on corner from the middle of Montana. He's playing against guys who were top of their program, probably all Americans in college. They may not have gotten the huge awards, but these are guys that made it to the NFL. And he needs to realize that. I've seen him make some pretty wild throws, and he's gotten away with it. I don't think it's going to happen for long. Getting into the other quarterbacks, we know who Pat Mahomes is. Pat Mahomes is going to be Pat Mahomes. Tom Brady is going to be Tom Brady. I don't expect him to digress at all. And if he does, he's going to mentor Kyle Trask, who, I'll admit, in college, didn't like him. Terrible quarterback. But when you get a mentor like the greatest of all time, could change some things. I don't know the relationship. I haven't been keeping up with Tampa Bay. I don't know if there's even any news out there of Tom being a mentor to Kyle Trask. But I have a feeling that you put that together there, Tom Brady, Kyle Trask, you're going to have another above average quarterback in Tampa Bay once Tom calls it a career. Then you have Justin Fields, who should be QB1. But the Bears are making him wait his turn. The Bears are like, we got Andy Dalton, who I believe Andy Dalton's a great quarterback. I think he's phenomenal. Here's how I feel about Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is very much, in my perception, like Charlie Batch. Charlie Batch could come into a game and lead the team to success from the backup position, right? He was very much, well, we know this as Pittsburgh fans. Charlie Batch was the best backup in the game. Hands down. No debate. But he was still a backup. And I believe that's what Andy Dalton should be. Kind of how they tried to do it in Miami last year with Tua and Fitzpatrick. Not saying that, the Bears should call in a relief quarterback, like a relief pitcher, as the Dolphins did last year with Fitzpatrick and Tua. I just believe that you put a young guy in there who is obviously capable, and you give him a safety net, which is Andy Dalton. We know they both can compete. We know they're both good enough to play in the NFL. Let the young guy compete. I think they're too afraid to do what they did similarly to Mitch Trubisky. Personally, I didn't think Mitch Trubisky was going to be that great in the NFL. Other people did. I didn't see it. I thought he was a great quarterback in North Carolina. Didn't think it would translate to the NFL. But I digress. So anyway, I think that situation in Chicago is always going to be a headache. And to watch it play out is going to be fun because I'm not that invested. I'm just looking at it from the entertainment aspect, right? So, enough about the Bears. Already talked about Lawrence. Now, it used to be, right, it was Manning and Brady. Manning, Brady. Always going back and forth. Brady always came out on the better end of things, obviously, as 6 Super Bowl rings. He won more conference championships than Peyton Manning. But I think we have another situation like that on our hands for the next probably 10 years. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and then Josh Allen. We got a glimpse of it last year in the AFC Championship game. And Josh Allen is, barring some untimely injury, we're going to be in for a quarterback duel for this century. Like it's going to last 10 years, like I said. These two are going to go back and forth. And it's going to be amazing because they're two guys that are the faces of this new generation of quarterback, where not only can you throw a bomb, but you can run out of the pocket, you're agile, you're elusive like Pat Mahomes, or you can just bowl a defender over like Josh Allen. These two are the face of the golden era of quarterbacks. Now I'm going to move on to more NFL stuff. The teams I'm looking forward to, and the teams I believe will disappoint. I'm looking forward to the Washington football team. That is a team that I actually have them winning their division this year in my bet slip. The Washington football team is going to be phenomenal this year. And I know I keep bringing it up, but as Steeler fans, we know why they're going to be good. They have a top-tier defense. When I'm playing fantasy, when I'm drafting, this past weekend, I had like 4 drafts, right? They're the first defense off the board because they have a defensive line full of first-rounders. And that's all they really need. I couldn't even tell you who plays corner for the Washington football team. But it doesn't matter because their front 4 gets to the quarterback faster than any other team. And that's all they need. That's all they need. And that's exactly why the Steelers need to sign TJ Watt and not let him walk at the end of the season. But on top of that, you have an offense with... It's very similar to the Steelers situation again. You have young wide receivers. One that's being compared to Jerry Rice in some places, and Terry McLaurin. Then you have a running back in Antonio Gibson, who's just shocked the world in fantasy last year. Mix that with a decent offensive line and a veteran quarterback, who is very much a veteran quarterback since he's traveled around almost every team in the NFL. He knows almost every nook and cranny of this league. And have him be the mentor to a guy like Heineke, who showed out last year in the playoffs. Didn't win a playoff game, but came very close to upsetting the eventual Super Bowl champions. The Washington football team, barring any mishaps or off the field antics from their team owner, as usual, this team will be amazing down the stretch. will be a team to watch for years to come. Another team I'd like to look out for, and I also have them winning their division, is the Los Angeles Rams out of the NFC West, which I believe the NFC West is the hardest division to play in this year. You have 4 teams who are playoff ready. Seattle, they're on the decline, but still have all those weapons on offense. It's their defense that I'm worried about this year. Then you have the Cardinals, who they just picked up J.J. Watt. They just got that, what's his name? I forget the guy's name. They just drafted him. Collins, I believe, out of Tulsa or something like that. I didn't even hear about Zaven Collins. That's his name. I didn't even hear about this guy until draft time. And everybody's like, yeah, you haven't heard about this guy? And I'm like, no, I don't watch Tulsa. But this guy, in the preseason, impressive. Very impressive. And on offense, you have D-Hop. You have A.J. Green, who knows what's going to happen with A.J. Green. But it's good to have him on your team. I'll tell you that much. Then you have Kyler Murray, who is this pipsqueak of a quarterback who just surprises everybody anytime he has the ball in his hands. And I love watching him. And I hope pipsqueak could be taken the wrong way, but I say that in the most endearing way. And then you have the 49ers, who they're probably going to be at the bottom of this division, but they also have a bright future ahead with Trey Lance. And you have weapons like Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. You have a great backfield. You have Trey Sermon, who could be the next great thing. I believe they still have Raheem Mostert. I could be wrong. But that's just a team with so much potential as well. And it's wild that the NFC West has gone from playing basically a tiebreaker game with the Saints when the Seahawks were what? 9-7? 7-9, I mean? To now, where the Seahawks have won a Super Bowl. The 49ers have been there. And you have the Rams and Cardinals who are above both of those teams now. So I'm very excited to watch the NFC West. Some teams that I could be disappointed in. I feel like I'm going to be disappointed in the Patriots, but they were disappointing last year as well. I didn't even mention. Cam Newton cut. We already knew that. Who are your wide receivers? Who is your running back? Now that Sonny Michel has been shipped out to the Rams. Damian Harris is your running back. I picked him up in some fantasy leagues just because I don't think they're going to be able to lean on Mac Jones as heavily as they hope. And I'm always hesitant to doubt Bill Belichick. But after seeing last year, it's like, maybe I can't. Maybe it's time to doubt the great Bill Belichick. Another team that I think is going to disappoint is the Cowboys. Everyone's excited for Dak to be back. Hell, I think I put money on Dak to be comeback player of the year. But I don't see them. They're going to be competing for the NFC East is going to be Washington football team, Cowboys. They're going to be the ones competing for it. I think that's obvious. I think we all know that. I just don't see them putting it all together, the Cowboys. Dak's back. Zeke had a down year last year. He's lost a lot of weight. I'm just, maybe it's because I didn't watch Hard Knocks. Maybe that's why I'm not all in on the Cowboys. Maybe that's it. So I remember watching Oakland, what was it, last year, I believe? And I was like, all in on the Raiders. But that's how they get you. That's how HBO gets you. Hard Knocks will get you. Hard Knocks will make you believe. But I'm just not in on the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to be able to put it together. I think McCarthy, coaching-wise, may be on his way to being a coordinator again. But yeah, I just don't see it happening for the Cowboys. I don't see them winning more than 10 games. But that's okay, because they are on their way back. The boys are coming back. The Cowboys are on their way back. Just need to string together some draft picks, and you might be competitive again. Micah Parsons, great pickup. I think he's going to be great for that defense. Don't think it's season changing. Do not think it's season changing. So anyway, I'm going to get into some bets that I've made for this coming year. All my future bets for this year. I already talked about my college football one. Desmond Ridder, Heisman winner. Put $5 on that. Could win me $155. I think that's a great value bet. But that's just me. I'm very in on Desmond Ridder. So moving on to my NFL picks. I think it's a no-brainer to take the Steelers over 8.5 wins. The team hasn't had a losing season since 2003. Tomlin's never had a losing season. He's come close, but he's never lost. I put $50 on it. That's just easy $100 right there. Or not 100. You're making an easy 50 to cash out 100. Because it's at like plus 100. I think I got it actually at plus 110. But that's easy to me. So moving on, I've already told you, I'm taking the Washington football team to win their division. I put a unit on that. It's going to win me a little chunk of change. Told you, I took Dak for comeback player of the year. I think he's going to have a decent year. He's like the no-brainer. I'm pretty sure he's at the top of the list, actually, of comeback player of the year. And then, rookie of the year, this is where my bias came in. I'm taking Najee Harris. Because why wouldn't you? This guy's going to change our offense, the Steelers' offense, for the better. He's going to give us a run game, even if it is behind an inexperienced offensive line. This guy can find space. That's just what he does. And when you find space, you find yards. And when you find yards, you find touchdowns. And when you find touchdowns, you might get Rookie of the Year. Now, I'm going to get into this parlay I did with every division winner. And this is where I might lose some of you. I'm going to save the surprise for the end. In the East, I think it's obvious. You take the Bills in the East. Or AFC East, I should say. AFC South, Titans. They're on the up and up. They just got Julio Jones to take some pressure off of A.J. Brown. Tannehill is a pretty good quarterback. No matter what you think, he's good. He can get it done. Then you got Derrick Henry, and they have a decent defense. Then obviously, you take the Chiefs. As I've already said, Washington football team. They'll win the NFC East. Green Bay Packers will take the NFC North. Tampa Bay is going to take the NFC South. And as I've already said, the Rams will take the NFC West. Now, Pittsburgh. This is where I tell you, I don't bet with my bias. I don't bet with my heart. I bet with my brain and my money. The Steelers will make the playoffs. I will almost guarantee the Steelers make the playoffs. But it won't be as a division winner. The Cleveland Browns are going to win this division. It's theirs to lose at this point, honestly. They've put together an all-star cast. They finally have a coach returning to work with Baker Mayfield, who has shown out in preseason from my understanding. And he's been sort of responsible for turning this team around in general. I mean, just look at what Greeny said on ESPN. This guy's gone through, 4 head coaches already in his young career? And he's been able to win. Put him with a guy like Nick Chubb out of the backfield. You have Jarvis Landry and OBJ as your wideouts. You have Njoku at tight end. You have Austin Hooper as well. Add that to a defense that is climbing. Say what you want about Myles Garrett. I'm not a big fan of him either. I think he's a decent guy. I don't like him on the football field. But he's pretty dominant. Jadeveon Clowney, he's digressed. He's still a pretty damn good football player. And then you have, I believe they have Denzel Ward. I could be wrong. But anyway, like I said before about the Washington football team, all you need is a good front four. And I believe Cleveland has that on defense. You're all going to hate me. But I'm going to win some money. And I think Cleveland wins this division. Not easily. Not easily. Because the Steelers will take a wild card spot. And they will put pressure on the Browns. But the Browns are going to come out of this thing. And they're going to shock some people. The Browns are no longer the Browns. Still nameless great faces. But they're no longer the Browns.